passed away recently, and Ann Christensen, a retired math teacher from Greece Olympia, who passed away. So if you keep the Austin and Christensen families in your thoughts and prayers, that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, can I suddenly move the agenda to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Stetzel, seconded by Mr. Butler. Any additions or corrections to the agenda anybody sees necessary? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, we're going to do a roll call vote. We're going to start with Ms. Millar, since Vice President Farmer got up.
Yes.
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 yes. Yes.
And I'm a yes. The agenda passes. And just a reminder to all my colleagues on the board, if you could be cognizant of your microphone use. There's been some complaints over the last month or so that microphones aren't getting turned on. So make sure your microphones are turned on when you vote and when you're speaking, just so everybody's aware. Thank you. Now we get to our union comments. And from Union GTA, Mr. Thornton, you're up. Welcome this evening. Yes, sir.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Thornton, and I serve as a problem-solving chair for the Greece Teachers Association. It's an absolute honor to share an incredible event that was hosted by the New York State United Teachers and the work of the GTA members accomplished at the beautiful Seneca Park Zoo. Many of our members had the pleasure of not only enjoying a fantastic day, but also giving back to the community by passing out over 600 books to NYSUT members and their families. It's moments like these that remind us of the strength and generosity of our educational community. I also wanted to take a moment to highlight the amazing work of our members and the entire staff at the GCSD. In the Greece Central School District, we are incredibly fortunate to have some of the most dedicated, professional, and trusted educators and staff in the state. They are passionate about their student success, and they work tirelessly to shape young minds, and they go above and beyond every single day. Similar to many statements by our district leader, Kathy Groutman, I would match our teachers against anyone, anywhere. Their commitment is unparalleled, and they deserve to be viewed as pillars of trust and professionalism that they are by everyone in our community. Let us continue to uplift and support them, because when we stand behind our educators, we are investing in the future of our children and our community. Thank you for coming, and let's keep building a strong future together.
Thank you, Mr. Thornton. Next up is GASA, and I am Mr. Lum and Mr. Henley. Welcome this evening.
Good evening. My name is Brian Lum, and I am the proud principal at Arcadia Middle School.
I'm Jeff Henley, Assistant Director of Accountability in the Abbott Program.
And we are here tonight on behalf of GASA. And as you can see, what I wanted to start out with was just the leadership structure that we have within GASA. I am now the president of GASA this year. Jeff Henley is my vice president. And then we also have other members that are going to be continuing on with us this year in our executive leadership. Lori Ruggieri has agreed to continue on as our treasurer. And then with our executive leadership, we have Jason Lewis, who is the principal at English Village, and Michelle Barton, who is the Patty Hill principal, who represent our elementary principals. Brandon Jones, Olympia principal, who represents our secondary principals. Lori Ruggieri represents our assistant directors, and Josh Lacey represents all of our assistant principals. When preparing for tonight, I put this question out to our members to ask them for this first presentation to share with you a little insight to how our superintendent's conference day will go in October. This really is the first time as building leaders that we get to be with our staff and design the full day around our professional development, especially focusing on the DSIP, any school that has a SEP plan, and then all the other schools that have a SIP plan. Because on the first day of school, when we all come before kids are here, we really have a lot of nuts and bolts stuff that we must take care of to get ready for the school year. This is the first time that we come together as building leaders to work with our staff on what is embedded in those plans. And it's important to know that this planning does not start in September. This actually will probably I start thinking about it in March of the school year as we start to build our plans, whether it's a SEP plan or a SIP plan, to prepare for that next school year.
All right, so some of the themes that we're seeing from the principals for the October 11th Superintendent's Conference Day is choice, teacher-led learning, data analysis, collaboration, equity, and skills to address behavior concerns. I can tell you from my role, I've seen a huge increase in the consumption of data for educational decision-making in the last 2 years, so that's very encouraging.
In keeping with the theme for this school year, empowering our leaders and also empowering our staff, some of our schools are talking about doing the Enneagram, which is what our leadership unit did last year, so we can learn more about who we are as a leader, and then also our staff and who they are. That way we can take the strengths of our personalities and bring them together so we can have a more cohesive work environment and really do what we need to do and focus on what is best for our schools. We also are enrolling our new curriculum, K through 8, every grade level, the ARC core for ELA. One of the things that we really focused on last year as a leadership, every single principal and their senior GTA reps came together 4 times throughout the year, led by Dr. Baker and Mark Fleming with shared decision-making. And then again, talking about empowering our teachers and giving them agency over the learning, and really looking at different concepts of differentiation, cooperative learning, and finding the skill deficits that our kids have and focusing on those so we can help close the learning opportunity, or continue to close those learning opportunities for our students.
So we're looking at unpacking math standards, ELA standards. That's teachers digging into the standards. Many of the standards are new this year or over the last couple of years. We're looking at gap analysis. Gap analysis is where we look at how our students did question by question, not only to gap to our buildings, but also to BOCES and the regions. So we have a lot of data at our fingertips. We're looking at co-teaching models, engaging students via varied learning activities and productive noise. And a NIVE training, on October 11th, I'm training both Arcadia High School and Odyssey Academy in the NIVE platform. And there's goal setting based on data as well that's going on.
And when you look at this and you saw these themes throughout this presentation, every single one fits into one of the 3 categories that we're focusing on this year, whether it's our academics, our guiding coalition and our PLC work, or focusing on reducing our student behaviors. And as we continue our work to support our students, families, and schools, I want to emphasize the importance of trust in our people. Greece is unlike any district that I have previously worked in. I've been in 2 other districts before this. The level of support and camaraderie here is just exceptional. Regardless of the bargaining unit that we belong to, we all share a common goal, and we all will work together to meet that goal, the well-being of our kids and this community. We deeply appreciate the support of the board and look forward to strengthening this partnership throughout this school year and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anyone signed up from AgSep, Gus, or Teamsters, and I don't see any of their leadership. So moving on to Residents Forum. Our first speaker for Residents Forum is Elise Cardarelli. Welcome, Mrs. Cardarelli.
Hi. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Elise Cardarelli, and I stand before you today as a proud parent of a 2015 Arcadia graduate and a current Arcadia Middle School 7th grader. Let me say this first. My husband and I also attended Arcadia, and I truly bleed maroon and white. I love this district, and I stand here today because I feel it's important to highlight what I witness on a daily basis and all the amazing things that have happened and continue to happen in this district. My love for this district and the community school strategy led me to join this team last spring as a parent coordinator. However, before I was employed by the district, I volunteered on multiple committees as a parent voice, as well as many hours of volunteering in my children's schools over the last 20 years. I couldn't be happier to contribute to these initiatives that empower our children and strengthen our community. I see firsthand the positive impact that these programs have, and I urge the board to continue investing in them. The community school strategy is an incredible way to make sure students are not just successful academically, but also healthy and thriving in our schools. We are so privileged to have this strategy in Greece. I am so excited to see many other districts following suit and joining as well because of the amazing success of this strategy. Over the summer, Greece offered some awesome opportunities to our students across the district. They're not just programs, they're lifelines of learning and growth during the summer months. I have family that attended the elementary summer fun program, and these camps provided a safe, engaging environment where students can continue to explore and discover new things while having fun. They fostered creativity, encouraged socialization, and reinforced academic skills, all without any financial burden on family. This is a wonderful opportunity that ensures every child, regardless of their background, can participate in enriching summer programs and activities. For our middle school students, the summer fun camps were an amazing outlet. These programs helped students build friendships with kids that they may have not known from different middle schools in our district. They engaged in meaningful activities that kept them busy and excited about learning. At Arcadia, the 5-Go-6 program was essential in creating a seamless transition into middle school. The program not only prepared them for upcoming school years, but also instilled a sense of belonging within our Titan community. I was able to support these programs this year, and it was incredible to see the excitement, engagement our middle schoolers were demonstrating. As a parent, my job is to advocate for my child and their peers. I am truly in awe of the efforts Greece is making to support students, families, and the broader community. The opportunity being provided are inspiring for our future leaders. Thank you so much for your time and for all that you do for our students and their families. Together, we are building a brighter future for our community. We are now, and we always will be better together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cardarelli. My next speaker is Amanda DePerry. Ms. DePerry, is she here this evening? Welcome, Ms. DePerry.
Hi. I'm Amanda DePerry. My daughter, Angelina DePerry, is a student at Olympia Middle School. 1 week ago today, my daughter was walking home from school. She pushed the button to cross the street. She waited for the walk sign to come on. She crossed in the center of the crosswalk. She was hit by a car just a block away from the school. She did everything right, and she was still hit by an SUV. Had my daughter walked a second faster, she could have had a car whiz by her, and she could have come home terrified that a car almost hit her. If she walked a second slower, we'd be having a much different conversation today. Thankfully, my daughter is still here to tell the tale. She has suffered a broken ankle with 2 separate fractures. Whether she will need surgery remains to be seen. She also had a concussion due to her face hitting the side mirror with such force it broke off the vehicle. It is my belief that had we had a crossing guard at that corner with a bright green vest on holding a stop sign, it would have saved my daughter from what is most likely going to be an injury that will affect her for the rest of her life. Just 2 seconds between a close call and total devastation is too small. I know that the district is not responsible for assigning crossing guards, and it's the Greece Police Department that is responsible. But this district has had 2 schools close to this intersection for longer than my family has been a part of it. And you have the same capabilities as we do to request those crossing guards. We could have teachers and other faculty in assisting our students cross the street safely and without incident. This was my daughter's first year having to walk to school, and this happened less than a month into the school year. I am asking you all to step in for all the students of our district to get crossing guards at the corners of major intersections like Maiden and Fetzner, and possibly change radius policies on which kids will be bused and which ones won't. My hope in speaking to you today is that no other child will suffer what my child is going through, or worse, before changes are made to keep our children safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perry, and we wish your daughter a speedy recovery. All right, moving on to 2.01, staffing. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Maloney, seconded by Ms. Malor. Any comments, questions, concerns on staffing? Seeing none, Mr. Butler, you're going to start us with the roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that passes 9-0. Assistant Superintendent Larson.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased, I have a few people to introduce this evening, but I'm pleased to start off with our new assistant principal at Odyssey Academy, Ms. Jessica Dolan. She was very excited about coming forward.
No, you got to look at Gina.
Jessica started her career in education by attending the University of Pittsburgh at Bradford, where she graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Secondary English Education in 2010. She then went to Canisius College for her master's degree in 512 literacy. After 12 years as a classroom English teacher and taking on numerous leadership roles, Jessica pursued her degree in educational leadership from the American College of Education out of Indianapolis, where she was living at the time. Prior to joining the team in Greece Central, Jessica taught in New York, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Indiana. Then, after starting a family with her husband in Indianapolis, they decided to move back to Rochester to be closer to family. Back in New York, Jessica taught 9th and 11th grade English in Bloomfield, and then became the principal at the Kessler Center, a private school for students with autism spectrum disorder and other intellectual disabilities. Jessica's favorite part about administration is the ability to make positive impact on the people and community she serves. Supporting teachers to help students' success is a top priority for her as a building administrator. Jessica is looking forward to building those relationships and connecting with the families of our students, as well as growing as a leader in education. In addition to her work in education, Jessica is on the board of directors for Starbridge, an organization that serves as an advocacy center for families and individuals with disabilities. She serves on the board as a parent of a child with ASD and ID and other medical impairments. Jessica is passionate about advocacy for all underserved populations, having experienced the hardships within her own experiences. Coming from a family of educators, Jessica is very excited for this opportunity. Congratulations and welcome.
No, you got to do a picture. Yep, you got to come up front, do a picture with Deputy Superintendent Smallene, Deputy Superintendent-to-be Fleming, and Dr. Colicchio.
And Dr. Baker also, right?
Yep, and Baker, yeah, Baker, come on.
All right. As a part of staffing this evening, we approved the retirement of Deborah Sabachek, effective December 21st. Deb has dedicated nearly 30 years to Greece Central, serving in various roles, including working as a clerk 4, clerk typist, and office clerk 2 in the Office of Student Services, and as an administrative assistant 2 in the Office of Student Achievement and Accountability. Deb is currently serving as the administrative assistant to the superintendent and the district clerk. Her dedication and service to the district is appreciated, and she will be greatly missed. We will have the opportunity to further share our sentiments with her at a board meeting before she retires. So with that, we have 2 additional appointments this evening. First, I would like to welcome up to the front Lori Manhart, our new district clerk. Lori Lori's not a rule follower, but I will allow it. Lori Manhart joined Greece Central School District in November 2015 when she was hired as the administrative assistant to the deputy superintendent. She has been the backup to the board clerk for the past 9 years here in Greece and about 3 years in the district where she previously worked. Lori is a member of the National Association of Educational Office Professionals and has received her national certification as a certified educational office employee. Lori is a Greece Arcadia graduate and has 2 sons, Raymond, who graduated from Arcadia in 2018, and Justin, who graduated from Athena this past June. Both of her boys work for our Kids Care program and work at the YMCA as lifeguards. Lori is the assistant coach for our Greece Gladiators robotics team for the past few years and has been a part of FIRST Robotics for over 20 years. Outside of work, Lori is a leader in the Boy Scouts of America and has many different roles, such as Assistant Scoutmaster, Advancement Coordinator, Unit Commissioner, and more. Lori also loves to volunteer and help our community as much as she can. Lori is looking forward to working more closely with our Board of Education and the continued support of the Deputy Superintendent. Congratulations.
The entire board, Lori, come on, you gotta do a picture. Jeremy and Mark. I still can't believe Gina didn't make you stand. I think I'm having chest pain.
Next, I'm happy to announce the promotion of Debbie Secules to the position of Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent. Debbie has been in the Greece Central School District for 33 years. She started as a clerk typist in the Community Education Registration Office, and after 1 month, moved up to work for the Director of Community Education, where she worked for 8 years. Debbie's Greece experience also includes working in the Office of Professional Development, Department of Human Resources, Superintendent's Office, and again, back to the Department of Human Resources. DHR will always have a special place in her heart. Debbie has held several civil service titles, including Clerk Typist, Clerk 3, Clerk 2, and Clerk 1. During her time in professional development, Debbie went back to school to obtain her Associates of Science degree in Information Technology. Debbie's favorite part of her job is interacting with staff, being an advocate and a cheerleader for our employees, and learning from her bosses and coworkers. She is looking forward to working in the superintendent's office and being an asset to Jeremy as he transitions into his new position. Debbie's husband, Bob, retired from Greece as head custodian at Odyssey Academy and is a big support system for her, along with their 2 grown sons, Greg and Jeff, and 3 busy grandchildren. In her free time, Debbie has coordinated fundraisers for many years for a teen mom group, Young Lives, and Hearts for ALS New York. Debbie enjoys camping on the property they own in Prattsburgh, enjoying campfires with friends, attending NASCAR races, and any time spent with her family. Debbie will be deeply missed in the Department of Human Resources, but we're all excited for this well-deserved promotion. Congratulations.
No, just Gina. Yep, he's pulling arm. All right. Moving on to the summer program update, Deputy Superintendent Smallene.
Okay, I'd like to call up our Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction to share our summer program highlights. Just a quick little piece on summer programming. I just wanted to take a minute to just acknowledge the collaboration and work that takes place to prepare, plan, and then implement our summer programs. I've been in the district since 2005, and our summer programming did not look anything like it does right now due to budget restraints. Thank you. Tons of work that goes into it. Our Department of Facilities and Operations not only ensures that those buildings are clean, safe, and ready for students for the summer, but they also work to make sure that our buildings are clean, safe, and welcoming for our students to start in September. So just want to give them their props before you get into summer programming update. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. This feels just like Kathy. She steals my first slide every time. So good job. But no, this is a slide you've all seen before, but I always like to show it again, just to show, as Jeremy just said, how many amazing programs we can offer through your support and the funding that we were able to get and the work of all these amazing people in the crowd, and our staff and community partnerships. And for the first time this year, we had student workers. I think Mr. Alvarez helped work in some of our summer programs, so getting the students involved to lead other students as well has been great. We had our summer debrief meeting in September where we got all the departments together that Jeremy indicated to talk about what went well, what didn't go well, and how can we get better. And I've been doing this for a few years, and it seems like each year we just keep getting a little bit better at overcoming over those obstacles of transportation and all those types of things. So the overwhelming response from our directors was great. There's always a few challenges. But more importantly, the response from our surveys from families and students was amazing, and you're going to hear that theme kind of throughout. But before I get into sharing some of the data with you, I did want to acknowledge we have a bunch of people here who helped plan and work and do all the things that we need to do to make our summer programs go well. So I wanted to take a moment just to have them stand up and be acknowledged for the amazing work they did this summer. So could we all stand up if you supported summer programming this summer, including our community schools? So thank you for all you've done. As you're going to see in this presentation, we reached a lot of students this summer, and we couldn't have done it with all of them. So thank you all very much. So looking at our K-2 reading program, you see we had 92 students attend. And one of the things we're proud of is we got to continue and tie into the work with our Art Core program, right? So we tied into a lot of those strategies that we're using there. But one of our big themes this summer was also to ensure that we had strong communications with our families. So we had weekly newsletters and surveys that we were doing out. We had 62 families come to our celebration night. And as you can see some of the data up there, in our summer reading program, this is some of our neediest students who maybe struggle a little bit with reading during the year. And so we're trying to avoid that summer slide, right? Not just see growth, but also just make sure that they're not falling backwards in the summer. And so we had 80% of our students either maintain or grow in writing, and 93% either maintain or grow in reading. So we were super excited about that from our reading program. And then Jumpstart. For those of you who don't remember quite what Jumpstart is, that's for our pre-K students who maybe couldn't attend our pre-K programs or aren't quite ready. And you're going to see this theme about transitions. And so we're focused on those 5 Go 6 transitions, but also those transitions into kindergarten. And so 63 students were able to come and learn those skills and get ready and do the screening so that they're ready to jump into kindergarten and be ready for that fall leap that is so big for our families and our kids. And summer fun camps, led by our amazing community schools programs over there in Kelly's Perduto, 537 participants over the 12 different camps. And the middle school number is 43, which might seem small, but that was our first year doing this, so we're hoping to grow that. And as you're going to see later in the presentation, we had some other opportunities for our middle school participants as well. So students got to do lots of fun activities, and one of the things we're proud of is this is our 3rd year doing the camps. A lot of our students were back for the 3rd year. And so that's telling us that they had a good time and they wanted to keep coming back. And we're also proud to be able to have this for our families. A lot of them, this might be the only summer camp they ever get to go to, either due to transportation or funding, and we can provide this for free, an experience they may not get otherwise. Kids Care. So we had 222 participants, but one of the numbers that I was surprised by that is not up there is that we had 175 weekly average attendance. So over the course of the whole summer was 222, but the average weekly attendance was 175, up from 125. That's a huge growth this year. So to me, that's due to the amazing programming and fun the kids have there, and also the reduced cost. So providing that affordable option for our families. We're excited to be able to do that. iReady, it was up to 165 participants. And we had even more who maybe didn't sign up, because iReady is something that all of our students can participate in all summer, whether they sign up or not. So we're excited about being able to provide that flexibility for families. We had such good feedback, we're actually looking to extend that into the year. So we're looking at some after-school club options and things like that, where we might be able to provide tutoring and extend this program with some of our community partnerships. And athletic camps, 1,800 students, and you can see there 250 coaches over 52 camps. So successful. You hear parents rave about these. The fact that we can provide these for free, that's just unheard of in our area, right? You go around Monroe County, they don't offer free sports camps to their kids. They're charging $100, $200. So we're so excited to be able to do that and really enhance those partnerships with our Grease programs, not just our internal ones, but all the ones that the town sports programs and little leagues. Really try to build those up to help build our whole community, right? Not just our schools. So such a great success. And our ENL program, and again, this is for our lowest level ENL learners who are at that beginning level. We had 113 participants, and we saw 93% of them show growth or maintain their level. So again, these are some of our neediest students who are coming in. They're newcomers or at that low level of English ability, and we're able to see that growth and maintain their level so that they can jump right into the fall and continue their learning. Music camp, this is one we are definitely looking to expand. So we had 84 participants, but as I was looking through the survey data, we had a lot of parents asking to expand these programs. So we're going to be looking at funding and staffing to see if we can enhance and continue to add on to this program because it was so popular. So good job, Mario and the team, dedicating the time to the kids, but we're looking to maybe possibly expand that in the future. And I said the middle school kids had other options. So if you remember our middle school programs, those are specifically designed at each of the 4 buildings and focused a lot on that 5-6 transition, but also for the other grades. So there's a targeted program at all 4 middle schools, and they reached 250 plus students. And one of the exciting things as we surveyed our students, 90% said they would come back or recommend it to their friends. And I have some middle school students, and getting them excited about anything is hard. So if we got 90% to be excited about it, I think that's a great number, and we're excited about the programming we can do there. And our ESY program, again, my heart always is overflowed with joy anytime you go there, right? 222 students, which I think is a record, and you see 180 staff members. We think about this as like you're developing a whole school and building it for 6 weeks, and then tearing it down at the end of the 6 weeks, right? It's a lot of work, so the effort that they put in, Melanie and her team, is so much work, but we provide such great opportunities. The kids have so much fun and continue their learning throughout the summer. And so our secondary programs, we have 3 main at that high school level more, the 2 BOCES programs, and then our world language credit recovery. So I'm going to talk about those briefly. So just to review the 2 BOCES programs, because sometimes this is a little confusing. The way I think about it is the regional summer school is like the summer school that's been around for forever. Like when I was in high school, we had summer school, right? So if you didn't pass a class or you were short on a credit or you wanted to get ahead, you went to that BOCES regional summer school, okay? So we offer that at Olympia, but we bring in other districts as well, join there. And then we have our alternative program, which is Greece only, and it's for students who maybe are more significantly credit deficient or maybe need an alternative setting. And so it provides some more flexible virtual and different types of options of learning there. So some of the data for those programs you can see for the regional one, we had 623 remedial credits, 63 new, and 720 Regents classes. And then for our alternative program was 520 remedial, 47 new, and 66 Regents. And when I think about these programs, I really think about the connection to our strategic plan, right? In our strategic plan, we have a couple of metrics around graduation rates and then 9th grade credits, right? We really want our exiting 9th graders to have 6 credits. And you see, I think this number is accurate. The last time I checked, we had 26 August graduates. And a lot of that is due to the work that they could do in July and August with these amazing programs. And we were greatly able to increase that ninth grade credits number. We're still working on finalized numbers from that. And then the other good thing about our credit recovery program is that flexibility to continue the work during the year. So if students started recovering a class in the summer and they didn't quite finish, they can continue that in their building-based credit recovery program and not lose that work they did over the summer if they didn't quite finish it. So we like that continuity that we get here in Greece. And then the world language credit recovery. This is specifically for students who did pass the class, okay, in 8th grade. They're going into 9th grade. They took that level 1 of ASL, Italian, or Spanish. But they did not pass the exam. And so this number startled me when I saw it. I was like, is that correct? So for those students, they come in, they do an intensive review, and then they take the test again. And the average grade went from a 42.8% to a 70.7%. That's such a huge increase. And so for all the kids who came, 80% of them who retook that got high school credit by the time they were done. So huge success. And the students demonstrating through the exam that they had learned the skills they needed to. So some of our next steps. In that debrief meeting, like I said, it was overwhelmingly positive, but a few of the things is just communication, right? Communication is always hard, but as we're bringing in all of the schools together across Greece and all the different departments, just ensuring we're tightening up some of those communication structures, but also trying to tighten that with BOCES. So we have our 2 programs run by BOCES, so trying to find out some better ways to communicate with them to make sure we're communicating back and forth with our secondary schools. And then continuing to refine our registration process. We started a new program this year called Group Trail, which is where parents register. As we've expanded to thousands of kids registering for summer programs, we're continuing to try to find ways to make it efficient for our staff, so that's not overwhelming to manage thousands of registrations, but also easy for our families. So that's still a work in progress. We're trying to work out the kinks there. And then, of course, continuing to support and grow our programs, which is often limited mainly by funding and staffing, right? So looking for your support to continue to do those things. And that's our summer programming. Questions?
Mr. Stetzel.
First off, thank you for the presentation and to all the hard work everybody, that stood up here and many more did for this. I mean, I think about when I was a student 20 plus years ago, we didn't have any of this stuff. So it's a really cool thing that our community has to take advantage of that. That being said, I wanted to ask, and maybe you mentioned it in here and I just missed it. Is there any opportunities where the summer programs are partnering with what Corey Skinner is doing in his particular department?
Yeah, so actually we got that feedback in the last meeting, I think, from Mr. Butler. And we had a little bit of that, some with our annual program. They went to MCC and developed some of that. But we didn't have a ton of those opportunities this summer, so we are going to be looking to enhance some of those for our next summer. So that's a great recommendation.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yep.
I think that's a great opportunity.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Maloney.
Congratulations, all of you, did a great job. But my question is, of the English as a New Language Summer Program, the 113 students, is there an age range on those? Is there?
It's a great question. Yeah, it's K through 12.
It is K through 12.
Yeah, so it's a
So
fun.
there could be some 12th graders in the class with kindergartners, first grade?
So they're in the same building, but not in the same classroom.
Ah.
So we have different classrooms for the different age grade bands. So
Okay.
that's a great question. No, they're not all K-12 in one classroom. The 113 kids are divided into, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 classrooms or so. There might be 2 grade levels or so in a classroom, but not 13.
Do you know how many different languages there are amongst these kids?
Oh, I do not know that. I don't know if Ms. Dane Marino knows.
I don't know specific to the summer program, but like in Greece overall, we're over 50 languages.
So over
50.
50 in Greece, so I would imagine it would be similar over the summer because these are many of our newest students, so.
Mr.
Thank you.
Bongorio.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Mr. Stepanek. So we call it summer fun camps. And we're a school district. We know that a significant part of the disparity in achievement gaps comes from disparities in background knowledge. And I see that some of these include field trips to museums and things. I guess my question is, there's a variety of things. How much of a focus is that kind of learning that background knowledge, the use of museums, things that just help our students grow. Beyond just, it's a great place to make friends, which is a good thing in itself.
Thank you for calling that out, because actually, that was called out in some of my slides, and I just didn't mention all of that, but in many of our programs, in our ESY program, our ENL, our summer fun camps, and there was another one, they do go out and they do field trips, and they have focused on building that knowledge of the area. A lot of them are focused on, like, can we learn about the history of Rochester and our surrounding things and all the amazing perks of that and getting them out. So that is a focus in many of our camps with those types of things. So thank you. And our transportation department was amazing in being able to provide that. So that's a lot of work on Dave and his team's end. So.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, 4.02 to level up capital project, Deputy Superintendent Smalling.
Yes, I'd like to call up Romeo Kalili and Dave Phelps to present this with me. All right, good evening. So our presentation today will outline the exciting next phase in our district's journey to maintain and enhance our facilities through the Level Up Capital Improvement Project. The Level Up Capital Improvement Project focuses on two major priorities. One, maintaining our district's facilities, which we refer to as upkeep, and reconfiguring classrooms to better meet the needs of our diverse and evolving student population, especially students with disabilities. We call this portion of the project Update. The Level Up Capital Improvement Project is a strategic approach to ensure that this work is completed efficiently with no impact on taxpayers. Our goal is to safeguard the community's investments in our school while ensuring our facilities meet the educational needs of the future.
So a little bit about our district. We have about 487 acres worth of property. Of that, 17 schools and 70 overall buildings. Those 70 buildings add up to about a little over 2.2 million square feet. And the average age of our buildings is 60 years old, with 15 of our 17 buildings being built in the 50s and the 60s. With Patty Hill being our oldest in 1957, and Arcadia and Pine Brook being our newest, Arcadia Middle School, sorry, being our newest in 1993. Those are the two outliers. So, with a building replacement value of about $653 million. So capital work originally began on our current Reimagine Greece project in 2018 is when the voters approved a $108 million capital project there. Work began in 2019 as part of the full renovation project, including this building here. And that is scheduled to be completed this summer, so it takes quite a bit of time to complete this whole process. While that was going on in 2021, a building condition survey was done by outside consultants, and what that is a mandated condition from the state that requires districts to, every 5 years, go through this process of evaluating their buildings. From that, we started a capital project committee in 2023. And that purpose of that committee was to start thinking about what this next project was going to be. And we gathered over 40 members to this committee, including many district administrators, principals, community members, some board members attended, and plus our external consultants, and you'll see the full list of everybody who's on that committee here. As another piece of this outside of the committee, the planning department met with every building principal and reviewed their internal needs and evaluated each one of those with them being involved in the process. So as I said, SED, New York State New York State Education Department requires that districts conduct building condition surveys. In 2021, we identified $120 million worth of things that need to be repaired, replaced, just generally upkept. And from that, I don't want you to think that we just sat back as a district and didn't do anything since 2021. Our facilities team has continuously worked throughout these few years to replace items that are non-aided, and we'll talk about aided items in a little bit in the future here. But so we did complete some of that work, just not all of it. And I do want to make note that in 2026 is the next five-year cycle of the building condition survey from the state.
Good evening, everyone. So talk a little bit about what we're proposing. We're proposing approximately $72.5 million capital project to be voted on later this year. And as was mentioned, that project has two key components. One of them is work to be done in the building condition survey that Dave spoke to, and the other is based on the results of the walkthroughs that were done at the schools with building administration and central office administration that led to increasing the notion of increasing learning spaces within our buildings, which came out as a large theme in our discussions around we need more space for our kids, we need more space for our staff, and we need more space for our support services. Jeremy will talk a little bit more about the walkthroughs in the later slides. And of that $72.5 million, most of those items, and we're estimating somewhere between 95% and 97.5%, will be eligible for building aid being paid back to the district. And we'll talk a little bit about building aid a little bit later. So why do this now? As Dave mentioned, we're a large district, 17 schools, 70 buildings. For the last 15 or 20 years, we have done capital project work every summer and through the year. Even with all that work, there is still more work that needs to be done because our buildings age. Things need to be replaced, roofs and boilers and chillers and those types of things. So we're a big district, reason number one. Number two, I touched on it a little bit, is our building aid ratio. So we currently have a building aid ratio, as you'll see on the screen, about 87%. So for every dollar we spend, we currently receive back from the state approximately 87 cents. At this point, that building aid ratio is fairly high for us. It's been there for a number of years, but that could easily trend lower. So it's good to do that now. It may go up a little bit, but it's likely to go down a lot further than it's going to go up. So timing of doing that now makes sense when we have a higher building aid ratio. And third, this project can be completed without adding any additional costs to the tax levy. So I did want to spend a minute to talk about, well, what does that mean? Because it can be confusing. And my explanation is probably not going to enlighten everybody, but I want to share some information. The tax levy is based on a tax cap calculation that was implemented back in 2012 by New York State. Part of this calculation is a term that we've come to the board and shared called the capital exclusion. That capital exclusion number is a calculation that comes back and says, well, based on projects that have been voted on and where you are and the amount of money you're spending and the amount of money you're getting back, you can add X amount of dollars to the levy because past boards have approved those projects. Since 2017 or 18, we have maintained that number, that capital exclusion number, at $2.7 million, and we've done that intentionally and strategically managed it to $2.7 million. So based on the capital reserve contribution that we have, the state aid funds that we will receive back, there will be no addition to the levy as a result of this project. So it is a good time to do it, one, because we need it, two, our state aid ratio is high, and three, it's literally anticipated to be zero cost to the levy at this point in time.
So let's talk about upkeep for a little bit. That's that building condition survey piece that I talked about a little bit ago. So just like in our personal residences, we have a duty to the taxpayers of Greece to maintain our buildings and keep them in good working order. And that's essentially what we're going to be doing. So what's included in that? Some quick summaries. Replacement projects. We're going to be replacing some roofs, some boilers, some concrete and some asphalt, some HVAC and plumbing improvements. Just like at home, when our furnaces die or our furnaces are aging out, we need to replace those. That's, you know, in a much bigger scale. Our rooftop units that control all the heating and ventilation for the buildings. And again, just like home, our windows need to be replaced and items like that. So those are some examples. Getting into some greater details and in summary form, this is the full list that's happening at all 17 buildings. Just to give a quick highlight, 14 of our buildings are getting roofs in some form or fashion. 15 of our buildings are getting mechanical, electrical, and plumbing upgrades. There's site work happening at 9 buildings, or being proposed, I should say, and window replacement being proposed at 4 buildings.
Okay, so the update portion of Level Up refers to the reconfiguration of a number of our classrooms and spaces to meet the needs of our changing student population. The classrooms and spaces that were identified for this project, as Dave mentioned earlier, took place in collaboration with each of the building administrators, our senior architect, Dave Phelps, our executive director of pupil personnel services, Stacy Prindisi, our assistant superintendents, and myself. Walkthroughs were scheduled with each of our schools, and that was done so that we could identify the classrooms and spaces that could be reconfigured to add additional space. So what's included? So this portion of the project, as I mentioned, addresses the demand for different types of classrooms and support service spaces to meet the instructional requirements of our students with disabilities. So the traditional classroom model currently in our schools was designed for general education students, typically accommodating 28 students per class. However, our current student population and educational demands have changed. Many of our special education students have individualized education plans or IEPs that require classroom sizes of 12, 8, or 6 students. Throughout our walkthroughs, our team identified large classrooms that could be reconfigured to accommodate 2 or 3 smaller classrooms or self-contained classrooms within one of those large classrooms. In addition to smaller class sizes, many of our students with disabilities have additional services like occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech, and counseling, to just name a few. These professionals play a critical role in helping our students succeed academically and socially. These service providers require spaces that allow them to do their work effectively. Many times, these related service providers require a separate space and cannot be delivered in their current classroom. And finally, additionally, this project provides funding to potentially support the addition of several classrooms at one of our elementary schools. We have identified 3 possible schools that could provide the biggest impact for additional space, but this will be thoroughly studied before a final decision is made. If it's determined that an addition is not necessary, the $5 million set aside for this work will go to work from the building condition survey. So altogether, this portion of the project totals roughly $16.5 million. This is a list of the schools that have been identified for updates within the Level Up project. As you can see, not all of our schools are included in this project. So 8 out of our 11 elementary schools have been identified for this work to be done. However, all of our secondary schools will have some type of update work done in their schools. The classroom reconfigurations are designed to better serve special education students by creating more functional, supportive spaces that align with their educational and developmental needs. You also see some reconfigured spaces to provide space for support services to work with students and/or office space for these additional service providers. Additionally, there's work at Arcadia and Odyssey that includes a secure vestibule for arrival and dismissal of students. And you can see Pine Brook will have bathrooms that are enlarged to better accommodate special education students that are in wheelchairs. Sorry about that. As mentioned earlier, the Level Up project has earmarked $5 million for a potential addition at one of our elementary schools. This decision stems from the increased need for special education spaces in particular. Before moving forward with any type of construction, the district will conduct a comprehensive study to determine which school has the greatest need for additional classroom space. The schools that are under consideration for expansion include Brookside, Patty Hill, or the Greece Community Early Learning Center. If the study shows that the need for more classrooms is not immediate, the allocated funds will be used to complete other high-priority maintenance and improvement projects identified in the 2021 Building Condition Survey. This ensures that the funds will be used effectively to enhance school facilities, even if the classroom expansion isn't necessary right away. Slide 16. So why is this updated needed now? The district's student population has shifted, and many current classrooms are not designed to accommodate the instructional needs of a more diverse student body, particularly students with disabilities. Over the past 4 to 5 years, Greece has experienced rapid growth in the number of students with disabilities in the district, which has led to an increased demand for self-contained classrooms and special education services. When I say self-contained classrooms, I'm referring to classrooms that have a maximum capacity of 12, 8, or 6 students. Currently, many of our service providers like occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, and behavior interventionists lack designated spaces, limiting their ability to work effectively with students. Most importantly, these updates also provide the additional space for our students with disabilities to learn alongside their peers in general education classrooms. This practice of inclusion has been shown to benefit all students by fostering a more inclusive and supportive learning environment. The Level Up project is a proactive response to these changes in student demographics and instructional needs, ensuring that the district is prepared to meet the demands of its evolving student population. So this slide is a snapshot of special education in our district over time. The number of students requiring special education services has increased significantly since the 2019-20 school year. This growing demand reflects a broader trend seen both locally and nationally. There has been a 42% increase in students requiring services like occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech over the past few years. This rise underscores the need for more designated spaces for these services. There has been a 25% increase in students needing behavioral interventions as part of their IEPs over the past 5 years. The district, additionally, 162 students now require one-to-one aids to support their learning, which represents a 1.7 increase since 2019-2020. Currently, the district operates 78 self-contained classrooms for students with more significant needs, and the demand for these specialized spaces continues to grow. Additionally, out-of-district placements for special education students has become more limited, with long waiting lists. Currently, 19 Greece students are awaiting placements in out-of-district programs. And just since July 1st alone, 123 new students requiring special education services have been enrolled in Greece schools, indicating the ongoing and growing need for specialized resources. The prevalence of autism has increased significantly nationwide, from 1 in 150 children in the year 2000 to 1 in 36 by 2020. This rise is reflected in the Greece Central School District as well. In Greece, the number of students classified with autism has grown 38.3% over the past 5 years. To meet this increasing demand, the district has added 11 self-contained classrooms for students with autism, marking a 16.4 increase in the past 5 years. Students in self-contained autism classrooms often require spaces for related services, sensory activities, activities of daily living, and crisis support. The district is committed to expanding these resources and spaces to ensure students with autism receive the appropriate support and services for their educational and developmental needs.
So as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, the project can be accomplished without increasing the tax levy. And we'll be able to do this out of some strategic planning that we've done over a period of time. So it's been a multi-year planning process. We began planning for Level Up back in 2021. Back in 2021, we also established a capital reserve for which we have about $10.3, $10.4 million in to be applied towards this project. And with that reserve, if it is not used for a capital project, it really can't be used for anything else. The purpose of that reserve when we opened it in 2021 was to do a capital project and to do a capital project that would be net zero additional cost to the levy. Second, we've got a building aid ratio of 87%. We factor that into the process as well. And third, through our planning process, we maintain a bond rating of AA3 for when we have to issue our permanent bonds to pay for this project. And with Moody's, that is one of their higher ratings. It's a very good, excellent rating. It's just a step below prime, which is AAA. If you've ever heard that AAA credit rating is prime, we're at an AA3. So based on those 3 or 4 factors, we feel this is the best time to go ahead and do this project. Let's talk a little bit about the expense and the revenues on this. So on the expense side, we obtained, as part of the team, Dave had mentioned that our architects, SWBR, and our construction managers, LaChase, were part of the team. They did preliminary design, conceptual design work based on the discussions, and then actually put cost estimates to each of the projects that have been shared with you. On the upkeep portion, which is the district building improvements or the building condition survey, we're estimating at this point that that will be roughly $40 million worth of expenditures. On the update, the classroom renovations that Jeremy spoke to, including a potential addition for $5 million, would come to about $16.5 million. And then there's another kind of miscellaneous category called incidental costs and contingencies. And that's primarily to pay for the architect, the engineers, the construction managers, the attorneys, the financial consultants. And also within that $16 million is a 7 to 8% contingency budget. So that if, when the work begins, if there's some items that we weren't aware of and it cost a few extra dollars to get that work done, we built that into the project. So between those 3 items gives us an expense budget of $72,550,000. On the funding or revenue side of how we're going to pay for this, Again, we spoke about building aid. State building aid is going to be roughly $62.2 million that we will get back from the state over a 15-year period. And again, that is based on the assumption that 95 to 97.5% of this work will be eligible for building aid. There's always a 2 or 3%, or maybe up to a 5% margin of work that the state may look at and say, that's really a repair or a maintenance item versus an upgrade or an update, and therefore they won't aid those type of things. And in addition, there's some other specifically called out work that they won't aid, but we believe we're going to be in that 95 to 97.5% range, which will generate $62.2 million worth of state aid. We're going to contribute our $10.3 million in our capital reserve. That'll give us our revenues for $72,550,000, which equal the total project cost. And there should be a 0 on the slide. The additional levy increase for the project will be 0, as we've said a couple of times. I did want to take a minute here to make a clarification to, or maybe make a couple notes on this. One, whether this project is approved or not, it does not impact the general fund regular operating budget that comes to the residents every May. These are two separate set of funds. And I'm not certain that everybody is aware of that, but whether we approve this project or we don't approve this project, if we approve it, there'll be no cost to the additional, there'll be no additional cost to the levy, which impacts the regular operating budget, right? Because we're going to keep that $2.7 million exclusion there. If the project is not approved, we don't save any money on our operating budget. All that happens is other districts that apply for the state for their capital work will get that funding, and it will just go to another district rather than coming to Greece. And in December, there are 4 other districts that are doing a capital project vote, one of them on December 4th and 3 others on December 10th along with us, because they're in the same boat we are. Again, 2 separate pots of money, no impact on the general fund operating budget. The operating budget itself, and I want to make a further clarification, that levy or that operating tax rate may go up, but it won't be a result of this project. Any increase in the regular operating budget coming to you in May may go up for a variety of other reasons, but it will not go up, or it may go down for a variety of reasons as well. But it will not go up because this project was approved. This is cost neutral. So what's next? For this evening, we're asking the board through a resolution that will come up later to approve a couple different things. One, we're asking the board to approve the scope of work in the project based on the building condition survey and the building walkthroughs with school administration who identified the needs within the buildings. 2, we're asking the board to approve the referendum language that was vetted by our legal department. And 3, we're asking the board to move this project forward for a resident vote in December. If that is moved forward, information sharing, we will do a host of community sharing information, questions and answer periods. We'll put items on our website and make sure that everybody has the information they need to make a good choice on, or at least the knowledge to make a choice on December 10th. And then the public vote on this is going to be December 10th. And a question had come up earlier about, well, why do we do this vote in December versus maybe doing it in May along with our regular budget? The primary reason I thought would be good to share is if we were to wait, I'll back up. Reimagine Greece, as stated earlier, finishes in 2025. That work will be completed this summer. If we wait until May of 2025 to do this vote and it's approved, it takes anywhere from 18 to 20 months to get this project approved. By the time you design it, go to SED, bid it out, get contractors on board, we miss a summer's worth of work. By doing this vote in December, it gives us 5 additional months and increases significantly the probability that we could get through this entire project by the summer of '26 and have this project start in July of '26 rather than waiting until July of '27. With that, I thank everyone on behalf of everybody here.
Thank you. Moving on to 6.01, the 25-26 proposed budget calendar. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Butler, seconded by Mr. Stencil. Any comments, questions, concerns on this? Seeing none,
Just a clarification. I think what Romeo just explained, this does not show up on that calendar, is that correct?
correct.
And that's what you just explained as well?
Yep, he just explained.
The
Yep, you
calendar
got
is
it.
for the
Thank you.
operating budget, not the capital. project.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, we'll start with Mr. Maloney on a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes, that passes 9-0. I'd like to call up the chairwoman of our audit committee. Thank you so much, Mrs. Flores, for volunteering to chair the audit committee this year. Welcome.
Good evening. The Greece Central Audit Committee held their first meeting of the 24-25 school year yesterday on September 30th. We were joined by the district's external auditor, Mangel, Metzger, and Barr, to review the 23-24 audit report. The audit identified no material weaknesses or deficiencies, highlighting the continued sound fiscal management utilized by our finance team under Assistant Superintendent Khalili. In review of the financial executive summary, several key points were noted, including the district stayed within its planned budget, using approximately 94% of the funds, creating a number of positive variances which will allow the excess funds to be used for future needs. Additional funding was provided to the Reimagine Greece project, so borrowing requirements will be less, reducing our overall interest payments, which will save the district millions of dollars collectively over the coming years. Ensuring complete use of all available pandemic-era funding and aid within established guidelines and the required time frame granted to use those funds. Using these one-time funds allows the district to save budgeted general fund dollars for future expenditures. In addition to our review of the external audit, we discussed our internal corrective action plan. Some of the items on the list were merely recommendations by auditors where no corrective action was required, but the district found it beneficial to review and implement changes in accordance with the recommendations and to track the progress. Some of the overall action plan items included are continued development and rollout of a new time and attendance system for all employees, which has been delayed due to various staffing challenges but is now well on its way. Strengthening of the procurement process to include additional staff training and standardized documentation. Establishing a process for formal written bid notification for all awarded and non-awarded bids for the purchasing and planning departments. Our overall discussions during our audit committee meetings continue to demonstrate the commitment of the finance team, cabinet, and superintendent in ensuring all district funds are carefully considered related to revenue, expenditures, grants, aid, asset management, and many other categories. It is the recommendation of the audit committee that the board approves and accepts the 23-24 audited financial statements, the internal control related matters in an audit, and the audit committee charter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Flores, and thank you for continuing to serve. Next up, item 6.02, acceptance of the 23-24 audited financial statements. Can I somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Stetzel, seconded by Vice President Farmer. Any comments, questions, concerns on this? Seeing none, we'll start with Vice President Farmer.
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes, that passes 9-0. Moving on to 6.03, the acceptance of the 23-24 communicating internal control-related matters in the audit. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Butler, seconded by Mr. Stetzel. Any comments, questions, concerns on this? Seeing none. Oh, sure.
I just want to give a kudos to the finance team to have a 300 million plus operating budget and have the degree of even comments or suggestions being as minimal as they are here is quite an accomplishment, and your whole team should be very proud of that. So that's my only comment.
All right. Mr. Bongoria, we'll start with you.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm a yes, that passes 9-0. Moving on to the Audit Committee Charter approval. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Ms. Millar, seconded by Vice President Farmer. Any comments, questions, concerns on this? Seeing none, we will start with Mr. Stetzel.
Yes.
Yes. Going that way?
Okay, we're good.
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes, that passes 9-0. 6.05, updated yearly appointments. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Stetzel, seconded by Mr. Butler. Any comments, questions, concerns on this? Seeing none, we'll start on with this, Mrs. Farah.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a yes, that passes 9-0. Moving on to 6.06, the tax surgery rebel. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Butler, seconded by Mr. Maloney. Any comments, questions, concerns on this? Seeing none, we'll start with Ms. Lake.
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes, that passes 9-0. Moving on to the budget amendment for use of workers' compensation reserve. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Butler, seconded by Mr. Bonagorio. Any comments, questions, concerns on this? We'll start with you, Mr. Butler.
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes, that passes 9-0. 6.08, the seeker approval for Odyssey W1. Can I have somebody move that to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Stencil, seconded by Vice President Farmer. Any comments, questions, concerns on this one? We'll start with Mr. Maloney on this one.
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes, that passes 9-0. 6.09, the level up capital project approval. Can I have somebody move this to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Butler, seconded by Mr. Stencil. Are there any comments, questions, concerns on this? Ms. Millar?
Two things. First of all, I'm still puzzled by 70 billion, buildings billions. So I'm thinking like, does the ticket booth at the stadium count as a building?
You can, yep, you can come out.
Yeah, yeah, so 70 buildings includes ticket booths, concession stands, all ancillary buildings that are on district property.
I've been trying to count all weekend. I want to praise the finances of this project. As the teacher, I always have to explain to people that it's like you have your house, as Romeo said, in 20 years, the hot water tank goes, you have no choice but to replace it. We're being proactive. I especially appreciate that 86% is coming from state aid and 14% from our reserve. That's fabulous to be able to tell the community. So thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Bonagorio?
I'm going to echo Ms. Miller's sentiments there. This is just, Mr. Cluley talked about the timing and gave some rationales for the timing. I would boil it down to just two words. It's prudent. We want to keep up with it. It would cost the district and taxpayers more money to defer some really important upkeep projects, and we're also making some really valuable upgrades. So, yes, thank you. We didn't vote yet, but you know where I'm going with that.
I'll let you start when we get to it. Any other questions or comments? All right, Mr. Bonagorio, I guess you're up.
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes, that passes 9-0. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to 7.01, Budget and Revenue Status Report. That's written information only. Does anybody have any questions? All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Can I have somebody move the consent agenda to the table, please? Moved by Mr. Butler, second by Mr. Stencil. Thank you, sir, to pinch hit there. Any comments, questions, or concerns on this? I would just like to thank the extra classroom activity funds at Arcadia High School and Athena High School for their donations to various things in those schools. I'd also like to thank the significant number of people that made donations to Greece Olympia in memory of Jillian Brianforte. And I'd like to thank Mr. Frank Oberg, a former board member. He donated an oboe and a piano to the school district. It's all very much appreciated. And with that, all those in favor of the consent agenda, and we'll start with Ms. Malor.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm asked, that passes 9-0. Moving on to student board member comments. Welcome, Mr. Alvarez.
Thank you. So since my last board meeting on September 3rd, the day before school, many students have settled into their school buildings, and many of them have highlighted those moments on their social media pages or me just speaking to them in the community. So on the first day of school was a quite busy day for me because I had the opportunity to do my annual walkthrough with the superintendent, Kathy Grotman, incoming superintendent, Jeremy Smalley, and deputy superintendent, Mark Flemings. We visited all the middle school and high school buildings and saw many scholars getting acquainted with being back to school, and it was great to meet many of them and as well as tell them about my role and introduce myself. And then it was also great to see many teachers and staff working together, as I'm also part of the Kids Care program at Longridge. It was great to see them basically having that sense of teamwork with one another and making sure that all students were getting to their buses or Kids Care, wherever they need to be. And then recently, the Superintendent's Advisory Council, otherwise known as TSAC, met with district leaders, and this council consists of scholars across the district. And in our day 2 retreat, we discussed the difference between being a servant leader and being a regular leader. And we learned that being a leader is someone who is basically the boss of the organization or the group or whatever you want to call it. And we learned that while this may be good in some situations, we also learned that we overall want to be servant leaders, which is people like Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Michelle Obama, and Mahatma Gandhi. We also learned that after going to breakout rooms that we realized those are the people that we want to see in our community, because those are people who share resources, help others reach their fullest potential, and create change for others and not just for themselves. And then as we're about to hit our 5-week mark of school, I've noticed that students have been super engaged in their learning, and I've learned that, or I've seen that it's not just in their learning, but as well in their community. I definitely see that the members of the Superintendent Advisory Council play a crucial role in this momentum. So, for example, you have students at Odyssey Academy. You have members of the senior class basically speaking up about the desired activities and experiences for their senior year. You also have Odyssey scholars recently having the opportunity to attend the Interrupt Racism Summit, where they met Ms. Cheryl Brown, the daughter of late Reverend Oliver Brown, who created the appeal for the Brown versus Board of Education. And then we have a student named Amari Backstrom, who's only in 10th grade, who attended this racism summit, gathered some knowledge, and then applied it by speaking with other students to create a new club at Odyssey called Inspire Her. And after speaking with Amari, she basically stated that I started the Inspire Her program at Odyssey because I want to inspire young females and teach them how to love themselves. And Amari's only in 10th grade, and what we could see is that she's already acknowledging our theme for the school year, which is empowering. And then you have student councils in both middle school, high school, and something that I recently seen, the creation of the Junior Lighthouse Committee in elementary schools. And this is important because those leaders or those young leaders are the future change agents of our district. And then something else that I've seen as well is Grace Arcadia had a student who reached out to a staff member to help them write a proposal to start the first boys volleyball club, which had a great outcome actually yesterday, which was their first proposal meeting, and they have their first club meeting on October 29th, and they're hoping to turn that club into a league. And then you also have the women's football the women's football flag football team at Arcadia went to YWCA, which is Empowering Women's Summit, and they were engaged. And then other students were also engaged in attending college fairs and seeing what could be appealing for them for their next future. And then in Athena, you also have students speaking out to their peers about showing more diversity on their social media platforms. And you also have students taking action and restarting the GSA, which is the Gay Straight Alliance. And something that one of the students have created was a Come Outdoor, where students who don't feel comfortable in coming out about their sexuality in public are now have the opportunity to come out in private and still be supported by others. So just from what I've seen in the past 5 weeks, I definitely see students embracing the theme of empowerment and making sure that their voice is heard, applying knowledge in places where it's needed, and growing a community like no other. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. Are there any other board member comments? Mr. Maloney?
I just would like to know, I'd like you all to know that I attended the Monroe invitation, I call it the McQuaid Invitational, had to be all in Monroe County, of course. And it was at the Genesee Valley Park, and we were all well represented, all our secondary, junior highs, and high schools. They did a fine job, and even though it was misty and rainy, they all had a good time, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maloney. Mr. Stetzel?
Thank you. I just really wanted to comment on what was brought up in residents' forum today with Amanda DePerry and the Olympia student who was tragically struck. I think as a board, we have more than just a role to vote on policy here. We also are advocates for our constituents and their families. And I would like to empower this board to join me. I would like to go take this to the town and advocate for more crossing guards in some shape or form to put an end to this and solve this problem so it doesn't happen again. And I'll just end with that, and I hope that I'll have your support. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stetzel. Ms. Millar?
A few things. First of all, as my department this year as a board member, I belong to the finance team now, and I had an opportunity to spend a morning with them and learn about the whole department, which I think is really important. I mean, even though I've been on the board for a number of years, to see what each individual does in finance was eye-opening for me. Thank you for sponsoring that. I am also a member this year of the Guardians of Equity Committee, and I spent a morning with them and learned an awful lot, and I was energized by the spirit of everyone in the room that day, so that's exciting. Got to visit with some parents at SEPTA, Special Education PTA. I'm very disappointed there because there were 3 parents in attendance and 7 online. And they even offer daycare or childcare for people. And it frustrates me because I read all the time on social media that parents want input and they want dialogue, and here our staff sat there waiting to talk to people, and very few people showed up. So please, people in the community, we're trying so hard to connect with you. Please take advantage of these opportunities.
Thank you. Ms. Lake?
First, I'd like to thank Mr. Alvarez for his update, and it's good to have your voice here. Secondly, I was going to say the same thing that Jordan said about maybe advocating for things that we see, especially with the changes that have taken place in the transportation and people walking that had not walked before, that maybe we could be advocates there. And I also, with the explosion of autism, I would really like to become an advocate for maybe helping look at causes and seeing if we can help when we see the children that are affected by that, the families that are affected by that. And the last thing, I've had some questions about my vote, where I voted against school improvement plans and the district improvement plans. and then the next month I voted for it. My concerns did not change about the plans, but hearing the principal speak about the time that's been spent in very good faith and people doing what they were asked to do with the methodologies that were recommended, I wanted to recognize that. My concerns are still the same, and I hope that we can have ongoing dialogue as these plans are being written, and that we can have some input if that seems appropriate to the board. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lake. Mr. Butler?
Thank you. I had the chance to visit my liaison school, English Village, just last week and meet with the very energetic principal, Jason Lewis. He was also a very humble leader and took every opportunity that he had to lift up the team members that I was meeting as I was going around there. I was really excited to see the bilingual program in action and walk into a classroom with a bunch of kindergartners who were speaking and learning in Spanish, and most of whom were not from Spanish-dominant households, I was surprised to learn. So that was wonderful. I just the day before, they had a really well-attended parent exchange, so Terry, all hope is not lost. We did have a parent exchange there at English Village that went really well. And next up, I'll be meeting with Dave Phillips and the facilities team, so I'm looking forward to that, my other liaison department. I also had the chance to be part of the district improvement team. We had our first meeting of that group, and that group is really charged with monitoring the progress of the district comprehensive improvement plan. We had teachers, administrators, a parent around the table, and really had a great discussion. In this first meeting, we talked a lot about understanding the district comprehensive improvement plan, and had a number of recommendations on how we'll know what progress is being made. And I want to thank Mark for his skillful facilitation of that conversation. And I was really excited about the learning about and helping to identify some of the lead measures that the district will be able to use to track progress. And it's a real demonstration of the district's commitment to continuous improvement, and I really appreciated seeing that. Two other things very quickly. As a member of the audit committee, I want to say special thanks to former board member Tammy Flores for her continued chairing of that committee. It's such a great commitment to our district, so thank you for that. I also have some praise for the transportation department. The first week of school, I had a parent reach out to me spontaneously just to say what a great job they thought the transportation department was doing at a really busy time. So I wanted to highlight them and thank them for that. And just last week, I was driving down Straub Road, and there was a school bus in front of me, and I was in a hurry, and
a ticket?
I did not get a ticket. This is not confession time. I was the car right behind this bus, and this was a wheelchair accessible bus. And so what I got to see, because I was in the front row of that, was the transportation workers and how much patience and compassion they had for, there were two, I assume, sisters that both lived at this house. One of them uses a wheelchair and the other doesn't. And the bus driver, jumped out of the car because she could tell people were waiting and hustled around, but they took their time with the students to make sure that they got into the front door safely. And I just thought that was such a great demonstration of caring. And I want to also thank Mr. Alvarez for your report. It's great to have you around this table. And I loved to hear you talk about all the presence in the community and the different groups that are getting out to different community events. It's great to do things in the buildings, but to see and represent Greece at all these events in the community is just a great thing and a great experience for the students. So thanks for sharing that.
Mr. Bonagoro?
First, Mr. President, a point of information. Can you provide some guidance on how we might address the questions raised by Mr. Stenzel and Mrs. Lake? Would that be something that we as a board would take up as a motion, or is there a different path that would be?
Yeah, we can add it to the October 15th agenda and have a letter crafted that we can send to Supervisor Rylick and Deputy Supervisor Morris and the Chief of Police, Chief Wood, to make our request known that we would like to either meet with them or have them look at adding crossing guards. I think that was the gist of what Mr. Stetzel and Ms. Lake said, so we can do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Gosh, hearing my board colleagues, there are so many things that they have reminded me just in the past week. I had an opportunity to go to Arcadia's back-to-school celebration, just to see all the activity going on there was really great. Had an opportunity to try out some of the culinary delights created over there. Just a lot of neat things going on, and looking forward to connecting with my Pine Brook liaison school as well very soon. I've been talking, I've been mentioning the importance of direct instruction or explicit instruction from a lot of the research that I'm seeing, and I've been hearing it echoed also in other areas. We had an opportunity to hear from Regent Hale today, and he was talking about the importance of explicit instruction regarding DEI initiatives. I heard similar comments regarding our CAP plan and the use of direct instruction in expected behavior. Curriculum is really critical, and the load that we put on our teachers and staff in implementing that is huge, and they deserve our debt of gratitude. To echo Mrs. Lake's comments regarding the hard work and good faith that our staff put into the improvement plans, 100% understand that. My concerns are regarding the insight and the board's role regarding that. The need for a strong curriculum is critical. I want to just read a quick passage from Dan Willingham, a professor at University of Virginia and a leading cognitive scientist. And this also goes back to Dr. Smith's comments regarding the school summer program. He writes, "A child who starts behind in terms of knowledge will fall even further behind unless there is some intervention. There seems to be little doubt that this is a major factor in why some children fare poorly in school. Trying to level this playing field is a teacher's greatest challenge. There are no shortcuts and no alternatives to trying to increase the factual knowledge that the child has not picked up at home." That's, I see, our biggest charge. That's why I take it so seriously and why I appreciate the hard work that all of our teachers and staff and administrators put into it. And I do take it to heart. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bongorio. Ms. Farah?
Yes, I just wanted to thank our parents for coming out for Resident Forum. I know it's never easy, whether it's bad, good, or different. So I appreciate the information regarding the community schools. It's always nice to hear people's perspectives. I know a lot of people have come to the board with different perspectives regarding that, so I appreciate that. Again, I would echo, everyone I think is on the same page as far as getting our crossing guards, so that will be a great thing to do. I do want to go over, we have some retirements, and some of those people have been here for a while. Let's see, we've got 33 years for Mrs. Benham, I apologize, I should have my glasses on. Nancy Gross, I should actually have them in my bag, maybe, actually. Maybe I could do it. Oh, wow.
You can see.
All right, let's see, Mrs. McAdams, Thomas Shale, if I said that correctly, 33 years. Wendy Smith, Michelle Swartz, and Debbie Sapochak. You guys had amazing services to Greece Central School District, and it is greatly appreciated. I did want to say that Mark and I did get a chance to meet with Melody and Stacy regarding the DSIP program. I have to take these off because I can't see out there now. It was great information. I appreciate you guys sitting down and talking with us to get a good perspective on that, so I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Vice President Farmer?
Okay, so yes, that idea to go to the town, absolutely. I would also invite parents to be part of that organizing and activist group because we know that when people show up, things typically will happen. So I'd like to just add on, and if the mom is still here, I just can't even imagine what you experienced that day. So we are all there with you. I also want to talk a little bit about, I was at Long Ridge Elementary, I think it was yesterday. Today's Tuesday, yesterday was Monday, and
heard some great opportunities for the future and how it relates to the Level Up project. We ended up, it's the largest school elementary school in the town. It's 800 kids. They are showing a 96% attendance rate, which, as we know, when kids come to school, they learn. Excellent. And it is a high-level Title I school, so we have these two things coming together. Yes, 100%. Mrs. Lapham talked about 6,500 touches in terms of how many times a child will get touched. And the suspensions were cut in half in this building. She talked about the wing, so if you will, where the kids who might need OT, special services, and how, again, that relates to the Level Up project. And she talked about the idea of the principals where kids, when they leave Long Ridge, which school they might end up to. Most of those kids, or many of those kids, will end up at Olympia or Odyssey. So her and the principals from those schools will come together and have discussions about that and what that might look like. So I just walked out of there feeling like it was excellent. One last thing I want to say is to the audit committee, under the meetings and notifications, you have included any member, so the audit committee should receive supporting, they meet 5 times each year. Any member of the Board of Education who is not a member of the audit committee may attend audit committee meetings if authorized by a resolution of the board, which we did. Transparency, in effect. I just want to say that was great that was included, and thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Farmer. I have a few things. First, I want to, again, congratulate Lori Manhart. She's been a backup quarterback for a long time, and now she gets the opportunity to be the starting quarterback. So I'm looking forward to working with her the rest of the year from January till the end of the school year. Welcome, Lori. I know you'll do a great job. Board Member Bonagrio kind of hit on it a little bit. I just want to say I want to thank Regent Hale. Regent Hale represents this area of New York State. He came and met with the board this evening before our meeting. We had a meeting with Regent Hale, and he gave us a little bit of presentation and a question and comment period. And in my 17 years on this Board of Education, this is the first time I've ever met with a regent. So it is kind of a unique opportunity for the board. I don't know if it'll ever happen again. So it was a unique opportunity for us, and I appreciate how busy Regent Hale is and him taking the time to come tonight and meet with the board and get to know the board, get to know our new superintendent, our new leadership team. So I was really excited about that. And I noticed something today, that on our next board meeting, I was going to recognize Dr. Colicchio, but I think it's her last day, so my guess is she's not going to be here that night. So I figured I better get it in today. Dr. Colicchio has been in cabinet, I think, as long as I've been board president. I think maybe even a year before I started as board president. And I just want to thank her for her service to this community, for what she's done. She's been a tremendous asset. She's been a great educational leader in the district, and I just want to thank you for what you've done and wish you tremendous luck in retirement. Have fun. You'll enjoy it. It's great.
Thank you.
And I just want to finish with I'll be brief. I had a liaison visit today at Greece Athena. It was an amazing time. I got to talk to one of our district safety officers, Todd Gamir, talked to him for a little bit. I went in a bunch of classrooms, saw different things, went in Mr. Parsons' AP Gov class, and they were talking Supreme Court cases, and one of the cases they were talking was gerrymandering, so it was a really unique opportunity to be in there and listen to our students talk and talk different sides of the cases. Was in a chemistry classroom, saw some neat things going on with atoms and structures and things like that, had a great conversation. with our athletics TOSA, Mr. Bunting, there today. We talked for several minutes, had a great conversation with Kathy Dyer about the music program at Athena, and I had a tremendous visit with Kelly Flagler, the principal. She does a great job. She runs a great building, and I appreciated my visit there today. It was a great time, so thank you. And Deputy Superintendent Smalley, your first opportunity at the big
That's number 2,
stage.
actually.
Oh, is it the second time? Your first time did not make an impression then.
Obviously.
So do better this time.
All right. I love it. Okay. So I also would like to take a moment to recognize Dr. Kathy Colicchio. As Sean mentioned, Kathy is retiring this month, and this is her, or yeah, it is this month, and this is would be her last board meeting. So on behalf of the superintendent, Kathy Groutman, and Greece Central, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude and appreciation for your outstanding service and dedication over the past decade. Kathy, your commitment to the district and our students has been evident from the day you joined on July 28th, 2014 as a turnaround initiative principal. Your leadership and hard work in that role were instrumental in driving progress with our graduation rates and laying the groundwork for future successes. Your promotion to acting superintendent of the Department of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment in January of 2015 was a testament to your capabilities and hard work. Just a few months later, in May of 2015, you were named Assistant Superintendent of Student Achievement and Accountability, a role in which you have made a significant impact. Throughout your tenure, you have been a pivotal force in advancing our district's mission and achieving academic excellence and equity for all of our students. Your unwavering dedication to enhancing student achievement and your ongoing support for our strategic plan has been so evident. We want to specifically recognize your work bringing and helping us implement the AVID program, career pathways like RTE, and our new NIVE data system. Throughout your tenure, you have navigated the complexities of educational leadership with grace and have been a steadfast advocate for both students and staff. And as you prepare to retire on October 16th, 2024, we want to take this moment to recognize the contributions you have made to our district. You have left an indelible mark on our schools, and your influence will be felt for many years to come. Thank you, Kathy, for your remarkable service, your leadership, and your unwavering dedication to the Greece Central School District. We wish you all the best in your well-deserved retirement and look forward to hearing about your future endeavors.
Thank you. And it's been a true gift working with this Board of Ed over the years, but I am a data girl, so let me leave you with one last data point. Statistically, students who do not finish high school or graduate from high school do not leave the community in which they did not finish. So standing up for the rights of every student matters, not only for graduation rates, we could care less, right? It matters for this community, because when our kids do well, Greece does well. And it doesn't matter where they came from or how they got here. And that's why I've been so proud to work here for the last 10 years. Thank you.
I have a few other comments regarding our schools. Olympia, Athena, and Arcadia have recently had their homecomings over the past couple weeks. Their weeks were filled with school events and activities where kids, our students, could show their pride in their schools. Their athletic games all had a great turnout by students in the community and went very smooth. And I would just like to thank the building staff at each of those schools, the administrators, and our security for their collaboration in planning these events and ensuring a safe, welcoming environment. Odyssey's homecoming is this week, and they are highlighting soccer this Thursday at 6 o'clock. Many of our schools have begun hosting their open house for parents and their guardians. The feedback has been very positive. Building leaders have shared that parent attendance at their open houses has continued to grow over the years, so that's great news. And finally, the Greece Central School District is once again partnering with Artists Unlimited this year. For those who are not familiar with this wonderful organization, Artists Unlimited provides opportunities for individuals with developmental, physical, or intellectual disabilities to participate in the performing arts. This year, Artists Unlimited is performing Beauty and the Beast, and all shows are held at the GPAC, and I believe it starts the weekend, next weekend, October 11th. So information on the dates of the shows and times will be on our district website. So, thank you very much, everybody. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Maloney?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second by Mr. Stetzel. I'm going to waive the roll call vote. All those in favor? That passes 9-0. Thank you, everyone.